In this video, we're going to figure out who should be behind the wheel of your scale truck. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the RC Propaganda Garage. In today's video, we are going to be revisiting figures for your scale truck. So I made a video a long time ago about some drivers, but it didn't really go anywhere. But I thought maybe I could revisit the idea and kind of go over a lot more in this one, because now I've been collecting figures for a while and I have many different sizes and a lot more knowledge, and I have some rigs here that have interiors in them. The Red Cat Gen 8's got a nice little scale interior. I got the new Bronco that has a really detailed interior. The problem is they're different size. You need different size figures. So I figured I would go over what I have, height, and all of that stuff, and kind of just give you guys some details on what kind of figures you should pick up for your application of drivers. So let's get into it. All right, so first off, we're gonna talk about the height that you're gonna need for your different rigs. So I have here, this is a kind of a more common type of scenario people are gonna deal with. This is a Knight Customs 3D printed scale interior, and as you can see, it doesn't have a lot of room. So what a lot of people do is they cut them off here at the torso and they just stick on the upper body, which is cool, and there are ways around it, but otherwise the guy's stuck in there. And if you want to do other scale photography and you glue him in there, then he's kind of stuck in there. So an idea I have is you could get two of the same figure and you could use some sort of magnet system and stick them in there, and then you can pull them out, and then you can use one to pose for your photos. Or another option is you got to look around and find figures that are different sizes. So this is a Hasbro Star Wars figure here. This is Quail, I believe it is. I forget, I'm not a big Star Wars guy. I was picking some up and then I kind of gave up on that and realized Star Wars wasn't all that great. But I keep this guy around because if you look it, he fits in there. He looks a little small, but you can get him in there, and when he's in the truck, you still have someone driving it and you can pull him out, right? Because this just sits on the inside of your TRX4, and you can take this in and out if you want. So then again, you could use him, but then, right, he's gonna be really small, but you know, he's a small guy. It's not like a figure like some of these other ones that's supposed to be large and then he looks small in front of his rig. So that is an option there. Again, this is from Hasbro. What I like is, I believe these fit in here as well. Yeah, see, these don't fit in the greatest because of the shell, but these turtles fit. Now, the problem with this is a very collectible figure. These are really hard to find, and they regularly go for $50 for the 2-pack. You get 2 turtles, although this paint shade came with other people, so you would get a Foot Soldier, I believe it came with. These ones come in a different shade, which comes with 2 turtles. You're gonna pay quite a bit of money, but this is something I have, so I just kind of figured I'd show you. So, you know, if you're not concerned about who's driving, if you're going for like something different and you don't mind a Ninja Turtle driving your rig, that is another option for the small interior, right? You just get a smaller figure. So this one here, his height is, let's get the inches over here. So he's right around 5 inches, just under 5. Yeah, he's right around 5 inches tall. So that's something you want to consider, is the height of the figures and what you're doing. So again, this is a great figure for something like that. So now if you're stepping up to a Red Cat Gen 8, you have a lot more room for figures in there. And what I think looks good are WWE figures. So here is a couple of examples. I have my Austin, which you see, this was my favorite wrestler, and this was like out of a set, and he was wearing shorts, not wrestling gear. And this is a shirt from another figure. Same with this guy. This is a shirt from another figure. I just like to change it up and have different looks. And of course, I use this one for Mrs. Prop, and shirt again from a different figure. So you can see she's quite a bit shorter, even though they're all the same brand. The heights are slightly different. So with the ruler here, he's just over 6.5, and same with Steve. And then she is just under 6 inches. So they scale them, even though they're the same brand, to, you know, more of an accurate representation of how tall they are. This chick's actually really short in real life, so you get a little bit shorter figure. And these work good, right, for the Red Cat. You can see here how tall he's standing there, and he's like up to the hood, right? It looks pretty realistic, the wig sagging. It's not perfect. If he's just a tiny bit taller and bigger, he would be okay. Now, that leads us into the next issue that you have with some of these figures, is the scaling. Now, let me just show you a couple other examples of figures in that height range. Hasbro makes some before we move on. This is a G.I. Joe. These are kind of hard to get, but you can still find some of these. They're currently selling certain ones, so if you want more of like a military type style, you can get these G.I. Joe Hasbros. But these are 6-inch figures, and they're all relatively the same size. But these will work with your Red Cat or most other 10th scale rigs. They don't look so tiny, because that's like the biggest problem is they look good when they're in the cab, but they're not necessarily greatest. But you can kind of use depth perception, move them farther away for photos and stuff like that if you want to accomplish that. Now, when you get into the bigger rigs like your Bronco over here, you're gonna want to step it up and get something bigger. This is Biff from Back to the Future, and here is Marty McFly, both in the same exact universe here, but he was smaller. This one's on a stand, so he's a tiny bit taller looking, but he's kind of a tall figure, and we can pop him off of there, and you can see that he is just over 7 inches tall, and that really comes in dividends when you start moving to the new Bronco, because it's really big and you need those taller figures. So here is a new one I just picked up, and he's close to that 7-inch mark. They fit inside, they look good, but they're definitely not the greatest for photos. They look a little small, The Bronco looks rather large because they're, not even really up to the hood. So it all depends how you want to work your imagination, what you want to do, and your goals and stuff like that. But they will work. So 7 inches you could get away with. And then if you really want to step it up, you have 8-inch figures. And this is John Nada from one of my favorite movies, They Live. He's missing a foot. I currently have another one on order. He fell off my shelf. And yeah, they are 8-inch figures, and they look really good, on the outside. But he's just a tiny bit too tall to fit in this Red Cat, but he fits great in the Bronco. But the problem is he's still just a tiny bit short, as you can see over here, He's just above the hood. Piper's like 6 foot plus, so really this should be a little bit taller, but you're never gonna get it perfect. That's how this scale game works. It's one of the biggest problems in the hobby is they all say 10th scale, but the sizes vary within that scale. So it is what it is. And then if you want another option, because these figures can be a little pricey. The Biff, these are NECA Ultimates. They are like $35, I believe. They might have went up to $40 for these figures. So if you're gonna cut this up or something, that's price is something you're gonna have to think about. But if you're worried about price, these figures here are a great option. I just picked these up. I have a few of them here. I got Teen Wolf, and let me get him. I don't know where he went. He slid down in there somewhere. Oh, here we go. I got, stuck. I got Hannibal Lecter, right? He comes in this sweet little suit here. So, you know, he kind of looks like a real guy. If you didn't really know what that movie was, you might be like, oh, look at that guy in his little blue jumpsuit. But he comes with his little mask. I got these for some Halloween themed stuff I'm going to do. But this one, too, these three here, these are made by a company called Migos, and they're like 15 bucks. Well, not like they are. I paid $15. So they're a really cheap option. They're very articulating, although the articulation's not that great. They get really loose, whereas the NECA ones, they don't have that flimsiness to them. And the detail's a little bit better, like the head sculpts. But I mean, these look really good, and for the price, you really can't beat it. And again, you got an 8-inch figure, so you can see, right, they look much bigger. They fit in the rigs really good. You can see here, just gotta stick them in through the roof. And right, they look pretty proportional in there. They don't look small. They're a little bit too big, to be honest. You got to kind of squish them down so their head's not above the windshield. But that is a problem. I think that the NECA figures, so like this Biff would look good. The Thing here, he looks really good. And currently, I picked up this new Casey Jones Ultimate figure because he has the head that pops on and off. Right, with these NECAs, you get a lot of accessories. So I picked that one up kind of to use for that. So these figures, I think, look the best inside the rig, but the problem is they're just a tiny bit small for photos and stuff like that. If you're just looking for someone to be a driver and not doing photos, then you don't really have to worry about that stuff, but that's just kind of my problem. And a positive note about these NECAs is they come with a lot of different accessories. So like I like all these weapons that they come with, right? You got these guns and whatnot, so you can set up scenes, you can do different things. So like in my scale garage, I leave a lot of weapons. I got a bat. This is like the cricket thing from the movie. So you know, you get some different stuff where with the WWE figure, you usually only get extra hands. They don't come with any other kind of weapons or anything like that. The G.I. Joes, they come with all kinds of weapons, and they can all carry their weapons on them, which is a positive thing, right? I got this little briefcase here that Destro comes with. So, you know, you can add that inside the rig or for photos or whatever you want to bring figures into your RC kind of lifestyle. So that's kind of a look at everything I have and my thoughts on it. This is probably one of my favorite figures. I'm just waiting for that other one to come because of his foot missing. But again, he looks really good, very detailed. It comes with the shoddy. So you got an accessory. You can do different things. He articulates well. He's not all loose like these Migos. That's like my biggest complaint about these. They look really good, but the legs or whatever, they're just like flimsy. Biff, really detailed, but the problem with these is I kind of collect these, and I don't really want to ruin the beautiful paint app, so I'm more inclined just to use these for photos, take them out and be very careful with them. The Casey Jones I'm not too worried about because I have one from a 2-pack that was really hard to get with the mask on in my collection, so this is kind of like my playing one, but again, they're like 35, 40 bucks. So, you know, that's something you're going to have to make up your mind on. The WWE figures did just go up in price. You used to be able to get them at Walmart. There's some really good ones you can look for. Some pointers on that, right? Look for guys like this one here, this Hardy. This is an older one. You won't find this in stores or anything currently, but I'm sure you could find it. This is the Network Spotlight one, which is great because he's got pants and his boots on are covered by the pants, so he doesn't look like he's in wrestling gear. That's the problem, you know. A lot of them are in wrestling gear. I don't know if he came with a shirt or not, but I put this shirt on him. But you can look and mix and match and get a couple of them because they're not that expensive, so you don't have to worry. They're more common figures. You don't have to pay so much. And you can, you know, kind of accessorize the way you want. This is a Hasbro Wolverine. What was his name? I forget what the actor's name is, but I picked this one up just because, right, he's got a jacket. It doesn't come off or anything. You could probably I think you could get it off. Yeah, it's just a kind of a vest, but then, right, this part's painted, but, right, he just looks like a regular guy. He's just a little bit small, but I use him here and there. Again, right, he's got regular clothes on as opposed to wrestlers, but they're just a tiny bit shorter than your WWE ones. Depending upon who you get, you can get some bigger wrestlers and get a little bit more height to kind of fit what you want to do, and you know, all of that stuff. So that is kind of the rundown on all things figure related. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I will try to answer them the best I can. I really encourage you guys to get out there, get some figures, enter my scale photo contest. Email me your best scale photo, 1 photo per entry for the month. October is currently going, so you can get in on that. rcpropaganda@yahoo.com. Email me your photo. You always score points if you add figures. I'm really starting to see the figures take off a little bit more. It seems now everyone kind of wants a driver figure, and that's really cool. I like figures. I think they add a nice depth to your scale RC, right? It looks funny when you see guys driving around, especially when you have an interior that you can visually see that's not behind any kind of tinted windows or anything, and there's nobody driving it. So yeah, get out there, experiment, pick up some figures, and have some fun in RC, guys. Catch you guys in the next video. Peace.